Hello guys, so welcome to another one of our conversations where we're going to be essentially taking difficult concepts, digesting them and portraying them to you in simple form and in a simple manner, right? We're going to be doing a lot of things here throughout this conversation that you want to be paying attention to. And as always, if you have a pen and a notepad, essentially, you're going to do a lot better in retaining this kind of information. I will be posting some notes into the description as well, so keep an eye on that. You can read some of those as well before you finish this entire video. But do stick around to the end because I'm going to give you away something for free. So, in terms of what you do at Tencent, can you explain a bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I always had a passion for art. I was really good at it in school, but then I switched a few schools and ended up not doing that. But I could always find a way to do it. So when I went to university and did biomedical engineering, I did a lot of CAD work, which is pretty much 3D design of various devices that you implant into the human body or just that help people out, and I really enjoy doing that. I always liked doing different presentations because I saw the value of them, that even if you have something that's, let's say, not great or not functional at all, but if you dress it up straight away, its value just goes through the roof. You just increase the readability of the presentation and how it's presented.
So we were in university together, both of he's my brother for those that don't know. But essentially once we got out of university after our final year, you ended up going into branding and I ended up going into marketing. We did that separately initially and then kind of suited our natural talents. And I think for you, branding was a good transition and a good way for you to incorporate your ability to work with software, obviously, to create things, but also your artistic side. So for people that don't really understand branding is a word that people use all the time. You hear that every sort of marketer, every sort of person is always talking about a personal brand, this, a community brand, whatever, brand. Now, what does branding actually mean? And can you just put it in like simple terms for people?
So it's what you want other people to see you as. Are you displaying yourself as you want other people to perceive you? So let's say Instagram, are you putting up photos where like you're happy because you want to be perceived as a positive person? Are you putting up photos where you're on adventures to show you like going on adventures, or in a community or surrounded by people to show that you're part of a network? You know, everything is a signal even though you don't realize it. And that's a big part about branding. There's a way you are, there's a way you do things, and there's a way you want to be perceived by the customer. Let's say to gain their trust, to gain more cash, whatever your goal is, right? And branding is pretty much the bridge that goes from who you are and what you look like to what you want to be and what you want to look like, and then bridging that gap through branding.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to personal brands, what are the mistakes that people normally make?
The biggest thing is just they present themselves one way, they do actions a different way, and then they put out different media, and everything just doesn't work out and feels like they're trying too hard or not trying at all. So there's a fine balance that has to be done there, that has to be found there. So for example, let's say as a guy, you want to find a girlfriend and stuff like that, but then you put up stuff that you don't like or stuff that doesn't suit you at all, but you think it's cool. Let's say you have asthma, but you think smoking a cigar is cool, so you're gonna put up a photo of you smoking a cigar because you think that's a manly thing to do. And that's obviously not gonna work out because the people who you're gonna attract is not the people you want. You want to be with someone that, you know, doesn't smoke around you because you have asthma, you know, but through the kind of those small signals, you invite certain people in and you push away other people that might suit you. So you have to be authentic, and a lot of people aren't that.
Yeah, and that's a massive thing. You said the cigar thing, you know, a lot of guys want girlfriends, but then they are signaling this sort of playboy lifestyle, you know, but like, how are you going to attract a girl that is sort of a girl that you want in a relationship by being a playboy, someone that's signaling that they're essentially just going to use you and not going to take you seriously, you know what I mean? So you have to be congruent in that sense, and you have to figure out what you want and then be congruent with your branding. Same with a company, right? If you are an AI company, there are so many mistakes that we see with guys do. You know, if you're a technology company but then your website is like cartoonish, it doesn't really make sense. And we've seen this happen all the time, especially in the crypto space as well.
You have to fit the part. That's the biggest thing. And if that's not you, then be acting that way to be that kind of false narrative of yourself.
And yeah, in terms of that, we see businesses all the time, even their internal marketing teams, let's say even something simple like video editing, you know, they will put all these like crazy effects on a company that's very serious. Like let's say it's a mergers and acquisitions company. They buy businesses, they sell businesses, things like that. And then we see guys putting lightning bolts on the eyes of these people, you know, who are like very serious businessmen. You know, you can't have things like that. That's not on at all.
Just destroys their credibility, right?
Yeah.
It does the opposite of what you want. Everything with money should be serious because it's a serious topic. It's like everything you work for turns into money. So you should be taken seriously. But if we're just joking about these things, then it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. And then, you know, the thing with branding is like you can always adjust your branding, right? To suit your target audience. You have to always focus on your target audience. So if you are going after young people, obviously being very serious in a suit isn't going to be as appealing, right? It's all about how you want to be perceived and the target audience that you're going after and what they want to see. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Would you say that most people don't think about what other people want to see?
Absolutely. And they don't think how it's going to be perceived. Let's say on a website, people will have like a white font on like a yellow background and it just doesn't stick out because there's no contrast. And it's very hard for people to read. Straight away that signals you don't pay attention to quality, you don't hire the right people to pay attention to quality. You look cheap. If I'm gonna buy your service, it's gonna be cheap value. It's not gonna be rewarding.
You don't even take yourself seriously, right?
Yeah, why would someone else take you seriously? You should act on yourself as you're gonna act towards someone else, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so if you're not spending money on branding, because a lot of people are like, oh, why do I need to spend money on branding? I can just do it myself on Canva, or I can pay someone $5 an hour and they can just do this work for me. That is a signal that you're going to cheap out on how you look. Then why would people give you then 10, 15, $50,000 a month or whatever it is your service is? Why would they give you so much money if you're not even willing to invest a smaller percentage of that into how you look, into how you appear, into your actual business, you know, because your business is just a manifestation of your life in some sense.
Absolutely.
So if you're not willing to do that, why would someone else do that? And this is a thing that people will realize with time. It's a painful lesson, but some people never learn it. So if you are a business owner, if you are developing a personal brand, you can't cheap out on things like branding. You can't cheap out on marketing. You think that by cheaping out, you're gonna somehow save money and things like that. You're not. You're actually gonna spend that money and then you're gonna have to go back and pay someone else even more to actually do it properly the second time. Or your results are gonna be so bad that your business is just not gonna go anywhere and you're gonna give up. You're gonna be wondering, why are my results so bad? I paid for this marketing, but you clearly didn't get the right people. You know what I mean? You didn't invest the right amount of money into something like that. So where do we put emphasis on branding in terms of a social media page? So let's say YouTube. Where does on a YouTube channel branding come in?
Everything visual, pretty much. Actually, everything, to be honest. Every single thing has signals something. Your copywriting signals something. The way you write the copy, that signals something. The words you use, the voice, how you communicate, that's all a massive signal. Even though people don't think about it that specifically, subconsciously they do. Very quickly they make their first impression about you through your branding. Other than that, it'd be your thumbnails for your YouTube channel, obviously the banner, your profile picture, everything like that. If that's all high quality, it's gonna show that you're a high quality person to work with, if that's what you're going for, or you have high quality content. So it's going to signal to the other person that it's going to continue to be high quality, so they're more likely they're going to subscribe and like your videos.
That's actually a very good point, like the actual consistency factor of the branding, which most people don't realize, which kind of brings me into my next point. People ask us, why do you charge so much for a logo? When people ask us, why do you charge so much for a logo? They're usually people that don't really understand the power of branding. They don't understand that the logo is going to be in so many different places.
So pretty much, let's say you had to put a certain face out there, right? You would want to represent you the best way. Same thing with a logo, right? If you had to put a certain logo out there, which is your face of your company, you'd want it to represent you really well. It'd have to mimic the characteristics that you have. So for example, what we're talking about here, like your logo is in lots of different places. You're gonna have to spend more money on it because of getting it 100% right, so the audience that sees it straight away likes it and associates positive emotions with your brand. And that's a very hard thing to do. What else you're paying for is the experience that a designer had to go through. No one thinks about this, okay? We go to a museum and we're like, okay, this is a Van Gogh painting, cool, it looks nice, right? But we don't see all the other kind of pieces he threw out, or we don't see the years of frustration. We only see the final product and we're like, okay, this is it. But still, for that person to get all the way up there, they still have to do all that work. They should be compensated for that.
Yeah, absolutely, you know. And when you're investing, as I said, as a business owner, when you spend money on your business, you get that back. When you don't spend money, you get cheap customers, you get cheap clientele, people who are constantly nagging you about price and things like that. And we know that, from our experience, from our early days. That is why big businesses, Louis Vuitton, these like massive brands that you're very recognizable, they spend a lot of money on their branding and their marketing, and they make sure everything is perfect. Their stores are beautiful. The whole experience is beautiful. Even the cashier is beautiful. So when the person comes in, they're like, oh, of course I'll pay $5,000 for a bag. Of course, why wouldn't I?
It only costs $100 to make, but I'll pay for it. Right?
Yeah. Exactly, so that's because they got all the details and all the years it took for them to develop that whole system of building everything, and that's exactly right. So we're giving a lot of game here for free, guys. So, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe as well, because there's going to be a lot more stuff coming like this. But essentially, going back to Louis Vuitton, what do you think are some of the mistakes that businesses are making in terms of branding and visuals in particular?
They're not narrating their branding. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay.
Right, so the branding is pretty much the story that you tell other people, your future customers, right? And if that's not being looked after with different images, let's say different graphics or logos, or even copywriting, right? If it's not done the way it should be, let's say, to put that story in front of people the way you want it to be perceived, then it's just going to do you a disservice.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, look, if you want a full branding guide and a full, essentially, branding questionnaire that will help you figure out what your brand identity is, make sure you go to Tencent.com and enter your email, and then you get a free guide sent to you from us, who've been working on thousands of projects, helped so many brands form their identity, and you'll get that guide absolutely for free. So make sure you go to Tencent.com, and that's where you'll find the free guide after entering your email. It's a pleasure, guys, and again, subscribe if you like this kind of thing. Leave a comment if you have any questions. We are always there to reply to you guys, and if you're looking to grow on social media, if you're a business, if you're some sort of tech and finance company, if you're a personal brand, whatever it is, feel free to message us or book a call through Tencent.com. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.